In the last 30 days, I made over $375,000 dropshipping one product using native image ads. Using a tool called Triple Whale, we'll get a rough estimate that's not 100% accurate, but pretty close. And you can see here, I made over $100,000 in net profit. This is after the cost of goods. This is after Shopify fees. This is after advertising costs. And there are multiple days over the last 30 days where I'll make as much as $20,000 in a day. And I'll hit the refresh button there. I know a lot of people always like to double check and verify, is it legit? Yes, this is 100% legit. Only native image ads. And what's possible is insane if you learn how to do this the right way. And to take it a step further, I'm going to actually load up my ad account here. You can see the pro in using native image ads. CPMs on average are about $22. And this is advertising to the most competitive market, which is the United States. CPCs, really cheap. Cost per link click, all that stuff, really, really good. But a really important metric here to further validate this is, as you can see here, I have a custom metric called hook rate, which is 3-second video plays divided by impressions. This is a metric that only will populate if you're running video ads. And as you can see here, I don't have any of those metrics populated because I didn't run any video ads. This is all with the native image ads. I can open up one of my best performing campaigns here, and you can see here I just have a couple of ad sets and variations of a winning angle. If I filter to amount spent here, you can see I was averaging on average here about a 4x return on ad spend for this one campaign, with amazing metrics going straight to the United States. Native image ads is not a new concept to this YouTube channel. I've made multiple free videos explaining my process, and people have actually watched my free content and scaled to $1,000 a day and beyond. So my free YouTube content is pretty good, but what I'm about to show you is going to be next level. I'm super excited to prepare this next phase for a lot of people that are relying on me to help them scale their business. If you're not familiar with the concept of native image ads, basically what we do is create these super realistic looking images using Higgsfield. They're AI generated, and we pair this up with some long form copy that could be anywhere between 1,400 to 1,700 words. And we're going to publish this on Facebook. And the goal here is to speak to people with a storytelling format that is blended in and looks natural and engages well with the audience on Facebook without really pushing it as a heavy ad. Again, go ahead on my YouTube channel, watch some of these free trainings if you haven't watched them already. Today, I'm going to really be speaking to the people that have been trying and still struggling with native image ads. A lot of the problems I'm seeing comes down to copy and a little bit of product selection as well, which is a whole separate video, but primarily your copy is what's struggling the most. And I want to cover something that's super important before we jump into the training. Native image ads is the best way to build a branded dropshipping store built on reliability and consistency. Unlike what you're probably doing right now or have tried in the past, which is just ripping competitors, going to Calidata, trying to find a brand there that hasn't blown up yet, but you're going to be the one to be the first one to try to bring it over to Facebook. These strategies are not consistent. They're not reliable. They, a lot of the times, are being hogged by the same beginner dropshippers that are trying to do the same thing you're doing. If you want a different result, you have to do something different. And that's what native image ads will allow you to do. It will allow you to build a real consistent brand that allows you to scale to $375,000 in revenue, taking home over $100,000 in pure profit. And the great thing about my brand is that it can kind of run on autopilot now with some small tweaks that I have to make every other day, but I'm no longer having to rip other people's content and other people's ads. I don't have to worry about trying to scale a brand, get it to a couple $1,000s a day, and then have it plummet drastically out of nowhere because, again, everybody else is ripping the same ads. So Facebook now has to distribute the leads across the different ads that everyone else is copying. Native image ads is the answer if you really want to build a successful dropshipping business. Here's how I'm going to help you do that. I'm getting prepared to do a complete rehaul of my online community called Social Brands Club. It's the same community that I've been able to help other people scale to $1,000 a day and as much as $30,000 a day. I don't want to really push that too much right now. I actually want to just dive into why your native image ad copy isn't performing for you. And it's why you're still seeing high CPMs. You're still struggling with conversions. You're still dealing with inconsistencies because it's not enough to just apply the strategy. You have to do it properly. So I've been on vacation for the last 2 weeks. And during that time, I've been able to step back and really put together a comprehensive, detailed guide going over deep research, new AI prompts, new copywriting scripts, pulled from the greatest marketers of over the last 100 plus years, right? So as much as I would love to take credit for what I'm going to share with you, it's actually a lot of rudimentary foundational copywriting and marketing skills taken from the forefathers of marketing. I've condensed it in a way that's applicable to dropshippers and native image ads. And that's what I'm going to give you a sneak peek of today. But I'm telling you, just from experimenting and messing around with this over the last few weeks, allowing myself to grow and some of my students to grow as well, this is going to be the most comprehensive thing you've ever seen in your life. All right, so first off, native image ads can seem confusing to the average person. A lot of you guys are young and probably don't even believe people are going to sit around watching or reading, in this case, 1400, 1700 long pieces of copy. But believe it or not, if structured correctly, it is the most comprehensive and the most fundamental way to get someone to buy something. The more they read, the more material they read or watch or consume, the more comfortable they'll feel with making a purchase with you. So the structure that I like to follow with my long form copy is as such: strong hook, authority anchoring, hero placing, a unique selling proposition, which a lot of you guys struggle with, objection handling, logical conclusion, and a soft CTA. You can quickly pause the video to read these. To me, a lot of these are self-explanatory, but these are some of the most fundamental things that you need to create really good copy. Now, this is going to be a sneak peek into my deep research masterclass. I also have a copywriting masterclass as well with detailed prompts that you can use with Google Gemini, one of the best, most comprehensive AI tool for deep research, and of course, Claude for copywriting. Now, this will only be available, the actual prompts will only be available to my community members, but for you guys, I want to break down the structure and format, so that way if you don't want to join the community, that's fine. You still will know what to do on how to do deep research and everything. But for me, guys, my resources have come from these guys: Claude Hopkins, David Ogilvy, Gary Halbert, Dan Kennedy, the GOAT of copywriting, Russell Brunson, who is a predecessor to Dan. He's learned a lot from him, take a lot of his structure, but I like the way he kind of implements his marketing. And then, of course, Eugene Schwartz, right? So a lot of you guys are probably familiar with some of these guys. If you're not, I highly recommend you read some of their books. They're really good. Expert Secrets is amazing. I used to use a lot of Russell's stuff in my previous business back when I was selling info, agency space. Breakthrough Advertising is really good. I forgot to link the book though. But really great stuff. A lot of what these guys teach, they have their own unique core principles, which I love. For Claude here, people don't buy because you're clever. They buy because your explanation makes sense. So this breaks down the concept of creating copy that is applicable to people. If you don't know this, the average adult has a 5th grade reading level. So people can write really confusing copy, really high level copy that the average person doesn't even really understand or gets bored. David here, the consumer isn't a moron, she's your wife. I love this concept. Speaking to people in a way where it doesn't have to feel like, you're over explaining, right? Speaking to them as if you already have an established relationship. The ad is not about the product, it's about the person reading it. So talking and touching on deep pain points that align, and also speaking to people in their tribal language. Dan Kennedy, I absolutely love Dan. He's the greatest, in my opinion, when it comes to copywriting and marketing. People value what is scarce, specific, and confidently framed. This is going to be very important because I'm going to bounce back to that other document in just a moment. Highly recommend you all read the Ultimate Sales Letter if you haven't already, and No BS Direct Marketing. Russell has a lot of interesting concepts that he's kind of conceptualized from the goats here above, especially Dan. But the one I really like is people don't buy products, they buy the story that creates an epiphany that your offer is the natural next step. So when we talk about long form copy, who the heck is sitting down reading all this stuff? If you create really good long form copy and you show that there is a gap that person is facing and your product is the only logical solution, this will be the number one reason why a lot of you guys will see your CPMs go down and your conversion rates go up. And then Eugene, also an amazing, amazing forefather of marketing. Copy does not create desire, it channels existing desires, right? Breakthrough Advertising is an amazing book. We don't want to change people's desires, right? We want to understand their existing ones and tap into that. And with the deep research prompts that I can't leak for you guys here on YouTube, I'm keeping that reserved for my community members. You will be able to tap into your customer and know them better than they know themselves. So over the last few weeks, over the last few months, and just my experience in marketing over the last few years, I've been able to build this repeatable formula for seeing consistently good copy. Now, nothing is perfect. You can apply everything that I'm going to break down today and still have issues. But the goal here is to give yourself the best opportunity and the best chance of creating really good copy. I'm going to actually reveal one of my best performing copy from my other brand, Helloven. I highlighted everything based off of the formula that I like to use here, which once again was the following here. And I want to just highlight some really key points that, if done correctly, you'll be able to create amazing copy. And I'll do as much as give you this winning copy as well. I created so many really, really good native image ads with the really good long form copy. This was just one of a few, and it was using the same formula every single time. I'm actually doing that same formula right now with my current brand that's no longer Loven, but a different product in a different niche, doing the same thing. And it's amazing how rinse and repeatable the formula is once you understand how this all works. All right, so the first thing here, I'm not going to read the entire thing. I'm just going to highlight some points here. You'll have this document that you can read down below, but none of this matters. This copy doesn't matter if you don't do proper deep research. And I want to highlight why this is important. Haloven U-shaped toothbrush. All my competitors were running the product to adults with the goal of helping them improve their teeth whitening, improve their brushing regimen, and also help with coffee stains, the typical things. One of the biggest reasons why you guys face high CPMs is because you're going after the same marketing angles that most of your competition is going with, and you're not doing anything unique or different enough for them to distinguish you, for Facebook to be able to distinguish you. Facebook has gotten really good at grouping advertisers and their marketing assets and showing it to certain types of people. Interest-based targeting is no longer. You create interest and you can target people based off your creative. So going into the ad set level, selecting certain interests no longer works. It's important that you keep that broad, and your ad and your copy will become the targeting. So the first thing here is the strong hook. This is where most people go wrong off the bat. You'll probably have some prompts that you've been circulating and using. Maybe you've gone through some of my old prompts, but I'm telling you, the new prompting that I'm using is just so much better. Pick a good hook. Picking a good hook, is important, and paired with a good image will help the person stop the scroll. But more importantly, a good hook should spark curiosity. Not only should it spark curiosity, we also need to address a certain person within the hook. So, strong hook here. I discovered why European kids have 73% fewer cavities than American kids, and has nothing to do with sugar. It's the toothbrushes they're allowed to sell there. If I'm a parent and I have children, and I know that I'm struggling with my children when it comes to brushing their teeth, or I'm conscious of this, I'm going to stop the scroll right away. Now, the images as well that I would use with this was amazing, but it's very important. You have to have the person stop the scroll. Actually, let me pause real quick. I'm leaking too much of my course right now. My students might get mad, but I'm just so passionate about helping people that I hopefully don't piss off my students, because I told them I'm going to keep most of this stuff for them. But I will share and sneak a little bit of this. This is what a native image ad looks like at its core, right? And that script and that prompt that I just read to you is this exact one here. And this is how it's previewed. So this is the hook, right? And this is something someone will see before they even get to the long form copy. And it doesn't matter how good, I think, who says this? Hermosi says this, and I have all of Hermosi's books. I have most of Hermosi's books here. Reading, by the way, guys, is super important. If you're not reading about marketing and offers and all that stuff, you're really doing yourself a disservice. But Hermosi says this all the time, right? Or I think somebody says this. It doesn't matter how good your copy is. If no one reads it, it doesn't matter. So the first thing that I focus on is creating amazing copy. And in the full course here, I have new scripts, new prompting for creating really good hooks. I have something also called a contrarian open loop hook as well, which is really good. But I want to stress how important this is. You need to make sure the hook, the thing that stops a person from scrolling, matters. And if you notice as well, we'll dive a little bit into images real quick. My images aren't these crazy images of someone's teeth bleeding, someone in pain, someone crying. First off, Facebook will ban you most of the times if you have over-exaggerated images. But also, this is another reason why your CPMs could be high, because people don't normally post themselves in pain, crying on their Facebook feed. So guess what? Facebook is going to give you the Facebook tax, which is, hey, your ad isn't good enough, so we're going to make it cost more money. If you create images that are native to the feed, hence the native image ads, they're going to perform better, and Facebook's going to reward you better. So here's some images that I've used in previous brands and previous opportunities. Here's for the hair care product I was running. So the whole goal here is to make sure that, one, your hook fits in that open line, but two, also gets the person to stop the scroll. I won't dive too much more into that, but there you go. So the copy goes on, and you can sit here and read. It's storytelling. So now the person is speaking about, at 2:30, 4 a.m., blah, 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 blah. So we're talking about cavities and whatnot. The next thing we need is authority anchoring. There should be some kind of outside or third party authority confirming the validity of your product or the problem. This does not mean you have to have a doctor, dentist, or professional. It can be a report, an article, another family member. There should just be some kind of approach where in the story that the person is telling, they spoke to somebody else or saw something else or read something else or someone told them something else to help them authority anchor. So here's an example of that. In Europe, children's toothbrushes have met specific efficacy standards. No safety standards here in the US. They have to actually prove the clean teeth before they can be sold. Now, is this true? Maybe. I don't know. I wrote this, I used AI to write this for me. But the point is that this is authority anchoring. I think I did it here again too. But here's what really got me. I found this Danish study comparing American kids. See, I don't need a dentist. I think there will be a dentist at some point brought up in the story, but I don't necessarily need a doctor or dentist. You can just make up reports, and with proper prompting and script writing, you can actually have this done for you. Now, I do believe there is truth to this. I don't think AI tools now won't just blatantly lie for you, but the accuracy and legitimacy of all their reports and data points may not be 100% correct. But there is normally truth to what they write. They're not going to write. I think if you actually try to, the AI will say, hey, we can't make false claims and whatnot. So there is some truth to this. So they found a report, American kids toothbrush suck, basically. American kids using American approved brushes remove 35% of plaque on average. European kids using EU approved toothbrushes remove 89%. So we're getting to logic here, right? That's what the Europeans are using. This is what the Americans are using. There's a massive gap here. So when we talk about placing a gap, the reason why your children's teeth don't look as good is because the toothbrush, we're creating a common enemy, which is the toothbrush in this case. It's also what's in the hook as well. So now we need hero placing, right? What is hero placing? Hero placing is how you introduce your product. This should not feel forced or feel salesy. It should feel like an epiphany. And the reader should feel like they're being let in on a hidden secret. So in other words, how do I get my long-form hobby? How do I get people to buy from me and not go to Amazon, or just not buy at all, or not click on the ad at all, or go through my website at all? You have to do proper hero placing. So hero placing here, highlighted in green, is how we introduce the product. So the person here kept seeing references that these U-shaped automatic brushes, not the silicone garbage one on Amazon, those are toys. The medical grade ones with actual nylon bristles. So now I'm creating that distance and showing, hey, our specific U-shaped toothbrushes are different than the ones on Amazon. Because people read stuff all the time on Facebook, and the first instinct, for not everybody, but a good portion of people, is like, oh, maybe I could just get this on Amazon and get shipped quicker, and I can have a 30-day refund, right? So we have to make sure that they realize that we're not the same product. And of course, whether that's true or not is one thing, but the fact of the matter is we need to create marketing to distance ourselves from competition and from Amazon. So they go into this and, here, blah, blah, blah. You guys can pause and read. So you guys can pause and read. But yeah, that we've created the distance because, hey, our toothbrushes are not like the ones you can find here in America. And on top of that, the ones on Amazon are made from a different material. We use a specific material that makes ours different. Boom. Next up is USP, unique selling proposition. How is your product different? I think I kind of already highlighted here. But again, EU, FDA approved, and then I believe the bristles as well is one that I highlighted, not the silicone garbage ones. That would also be a unique selling proposition. How is yours different than the competition? Because people will look around, especially an older demographic. They don't just buy it necessarily on the first go. They'll try to look around a little bit. So that's how you create that USP. Objection handle, right? So there are always going to be some level of objections. Okay, I can see that it's different, but what does it actually work? That tends to be the objection or the concern. Is that actually work? I used a plaque disclosure tablet right after. So basically, I'm just going to summarize this. The storyteller in this case is saying, to prove that it worked, I used this tool that helps turn your gums into a different color, your teeth into a different color, and it actually worked. It cleaned off and it looked amazing, basically, is what that says. And then logical conclusion. So this is a lot, but basically the logical conclusion says it only makes sense, right? For the price and for what it does, it only makes sense. It's costing me $2,000 to get these cleans and avoid cavities when I can just get a toothbrush that's slightly, that's better, and it only costs XYZ, and it's FDA approved, and it's better than the ones here sold in the US. Why not just do that? It's $39. I don't actually think I say the price, but when they get to the website, they'll have this in the back of their mind that, I could save myself thousands of dollars if I just make one simple switch. And then last but not least is another thing I see a lot of you guys struggle with, which is the soft CTA. I rarely ever, sometimes I'll put the price of the product. Actually, in this case, I did put the price. Um, I rarely ever say, hey, you can get it from this specific brand. They're running a, buy one, get one free offer. And they also do free shipping. I don't hard sell. That's now hard selling, and people will be rubbed the wrong way. So my call to actions should feel as if I'm suggesting. I'm not telling you what the offer is or what to do. You can go figure that out on your own, but I'm directing them. And because it is a ad, they will see the learn more shop now button. They'll be able to click and get to your website. I promise you. But if you read here at the end here, your kids' cavities might not be your fault. They're doing something wrong. Even if it makes you realize how badly you've been played. Oliver hasn't had cavities in 18 months, and yes, he still calls it dinosaur mouth and races his sister. Blah blah blah. I wish I'd known the difference $2,400 ago. So I actually don't even tell them to click the link down below. I don't have a link to my website. I don't do that. Sometimes I see people do that, and maybe that may help. But I've scaled to $375,000 a month, guys, without even having to ever tell someone to click the link down below. I don't need to, because people will just read, they'll engage, the comment section will light up, and it will just push my ad out more, and more people will read to it or go to the product page. It's copy like this that can change your life forever. And I've spent so much time. I'm still not even done technically, but I've spent so much time, an ungodly amount of time, putting all this together and systematizing this process so you can rinse and repeat and make the best copy possible. So I'm refining and improving this every single day. And Social Brands Club 3.0, the goal is to have it launch next week. So that would be January 12th is when I'll be officially launching the trainings, the course, the script, everything, basically a rehaul of what I've already put together. The students inside the program are getting amazing results, like Alexis here, who's all the way from Spain, who scaled to 2K a day in profit, not just revenue, in profit with native image ads. My boy Sax here, who actually is on his second brand now. His first one, he's already scaled to a couple of 4 figures a day. His second brand, again, with native image ads, to $1,000 a day on really good margins as well. Adam, also scaling his brand. He's getting ready to do 3K a day in profit. Are you guys serious right now? Last month he did 3K in profit. Sorry, I said 3K a day. 3K last month in profit. It says last month or this month, but it's actually only been a few days. So he's also doing really good with native image ads as well. Adarsh hitting 1K a day with native image ads as well. Dude's an absolute beast with a 6% conversion rate. Hambali also hitting 1K a day with native image ads. Absolute legend. Again, 7% conversion rate, really high conversion rates, not having to rip competitors. I'm literally going to be putting in this program thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of value, the same value that allowed me to scale to 6 figures a month in profit, and so many other students scale their brands as well. And it's going to be the biggest project I've ever put together, and I'm super excited for it. So if it's something that you have desires for, if you want to build a successful dropshipping business without having to rip ads, have to deal with inconsistencies, high CPMs, all this other nonsense, feel free to join, man. I have going to be putting a lot of work into it. On top of that, you get to have 24/7 DM support with me. I host a weekly coaching call. I guess we can call it coaching call. Q&As, new trainings, and updating a ton of stuff. And then you get to be in a community of over 150 other amazing dropshippers scaling their brands as well. So I'll leave a link in the description down below if that's something you want. Hopefully you guys got some more value out of this. Subscribe if you haven't already. And guys, we have a big year ahead of us. So see you guys all next time. Take care.